Welcome back, everybody. Today, we will be drawing a sleepy sloth. Ellie, the winner of our 5th grade Vincent Van Gogh Challenge, requested a sloth drawing as her prize. Rather than just give Ellie her sloth drawing, I thought I'd make a video to show anyone who's interested how to draw one too. This video also kicks off our newest series of contests. Stay tuned till the end of the video to see how that works. As you can see here, I've started drawing my sloth with a bunch of simple shapes and lines. Any picture, no matter how complicated, always begins with basic lines and shapes. As I continue working, I will add more advanced elements of art, such as form, color, texture, and value. As always, I am starting with drawing very lightly. As we say in class, draw light till you've got it right. This allows me to erase any mistakes. As I continue drawing my sloth, feel free to pause the video at any time so you can catch up. I have this video set to speed mode, so you don't have to sit through a bunch of tedious drawing and erasing. Rest assured though, I took quite a while to draw this, and you will too. That's okay. Notice how I drew my sloth's head at a slight angle. This makes it look like he is asleep, or maybe just waking up from a nap. Since I drew light earlier, I'm now going to go over my sketchy lines with some texture to make my sloth look a bit furrier and more realistic. I am adding just a few textured lines on the inside of my sketch as well to emphasize my sloth's fur. Lastly, I am going to add one leaf on the end of his tree branch. I am going to outline my lines with both a Sharpie and a Papermate Flair pen. This gives my lines a bit of variety, with some being thicker and some thinner. We know that this is called line weight, with thicker lines seeming heavier and thinner lines appearing lighter. I am using a thicker line weight for the main shapes of my drawing. Going back over my lines to thicken them up a bit helps add even more variety to my line weight. Now that I'm done outlining the main basic shapes, I'm going to go over the finer details with a thinner Papermate Flair pen. You don't have to use these tools. There are all sorts of cool artist pens to choose from. This is just what I had on hand. You could also use a basic writing pen, and your work would still look fantastic. Some artists don't even outline their work at all, and that's fine too. It's completely up to you. Now that I'm done with the line work portion of my drawing, I can erase my pencil lines. Once again, this shows why it's so important to draw light until we've got it right. Finally, I can choose a spot to sign my drawing. I typically stick to just my initials and the date. When you have some free time, I'd suggest practicing your artist signature. It's a great thing to add to your finished pieces. To color my sloth, I am going to use my oil-based colored pencils. Now these are very professional art supplies. I didn't start working with colored pencils like these until I was about 25 years old, so don't worry, you can use absolutely whatever you have. You can use markers, but since I'm going to demonstrate how to blend and shade in this tutorial, I would suggest you stick with either pencils, colored pencils, or crayons. I am beginning with coloring very lightly, making sure that my marks are going in the same direction. Over time, I will begin layering colors. I will also change up the pressure in my hand to start coloring a little bit darker. However, by starting with coloring very lightly, I'm able to layer those colors and get a real sense of depth and dimension to my artwork. Now that I've started to map out my basic color scheme, I can begin layering my colors more and shading. I am going to add a little bit of shadow on the side of my sloth's body. This helps him look more three-dimensional. Notice how even now, I'm not pressing super hard. I still don't want to overpower my drawing with one color. Rather, I will slowly build up my different colors and values. This gives my picture depth. Depth is the illusion that something goes back into space, rather than lying flat on my paper. Even though I'm drawing a cartoon sloth and not a realistic one, I can still give it a sense of depth and three-dimensionality. Now that I've established a basic sense of value and shading on my sloth, I can begin pressing harder with a main color over his fur. I am using this light brown in sort of a medium pressure. I decided to use the same light brown on his tree branch. This helps my color schemes look more unified, or like they belong together. Now that I've covered my sloth's full body with that medium brown, I'm going to go back with a reddish brown and a hard pressure. This hard pressure helps to blend all of the colors that I worked so hard to layer up earlier in this tutorial. As I finish with my reddish brown, I can go back and add some deep dark shadows and bright white highlights with darker brown, black, and white. I practiced these exact same techniques when coloring in my sky. I layered many different values of blues, and I varied the pressure of my pencil throughout my work. Because I don't want my dark blue to overpower my lighter colors, I'm not using it until the very end. I'm not going to use the same super hard pressure that I did to color my sloth's body. I want my sky to have less emphasis than my sloth. That is, I want my sloth to be the main focus of my drawing. For my very last detail, I'm going to add a slight shadow inside my sloth's eye. This helps it look a little more three-dimensional. And we're done! But before I go, I want to show you some pictures that have been sent to me throughout this week from all of my amazing creative artists. And at the end of the video, as promised, I will explain our newest contest. I love receiving pictures of artworks both inspired by our videos posted to YouTube, as well as pictures showing me all of the other creative things you've been up to while we've been away from school. For example, thank you to Kyla for this gorgeous tree painting, and thank you to Connor, Holly, and Grace for this really cool stained glass chalk project they did in their yard. I love knowing that you are all staying busy practicing your art and stretching your creative muscles while we're away from school. As I mentioned earlier, this video also serves as the kickoff to our newest contest. To enter this contest, you will need to follow my video to draw your very own sloth. It could be drawn with traditional art supplies like pencils, colored pencils, crayons, or markers, or drawn with Notability if you have access to that app. Once you have finished your work of art, you need to send it to me via my school email. I will then put your name in a random drawing. The person to be selected will get to choose the topic of our next How to Draw video. They will also receive the picture of whatever I draw. Please note, you do not have to be on Google Classroom to enter this contest. Absolutely any grade can take part. I will accept submissions until Friday, April 3rd at 3 p.m. I cannot wait to see what you all create. In the meantime, stay healthy and arty on. Talk to y'all soon. Bye!